Let's go ahead and get started. I want to talk to you about an incredible niche, something I'm super excited and passionate about. I know a lot of you know me already. I know I see some CDPEs on the call as well, but just in case this is the first time that we connect, just a quick introduction. My name is Tony Martinez. I am, like you, a Florida licensed broker associate. My wife and I are co-team leaders of a mega team down here of 120 agents. I'm the CEO and founder of the Real Estate Advancement Institute, which is essentially my umbrella entity. And under that umbrella, I have the Certified Distressed Property Expert designation, the famous CDPE. And I am so proud that I now am the owner and lead instructor for the military residential specialist. This was a certification that I taught way back in 2017 when it belonged to somebody else. And then as I became more and more passionate about expanding my reach into other niches, I followed up on a dream, and that was to acquire it. When I acquired it, it had a ton of old content and everything else. I went in there, I revamped it, I revitalized it, I brought it to where I think it needed to be. So I am very excited to bring this to you. I do this for a living, folks. My passion is teaching. Every single day, I think it's a privilege when I get in front of a group and go ahead and impart some knowledge in hopes that it can make a difference. So that's what I hope today will do. Will make a difference. Maybe it'll wake you up to something. Look, this is the understatement of the year. The struggle is absolutely real. I mean, we have had a tough 2 years in real estate. And for those that were optimistic about 2026, how's that going? So how's that going? And you know what? In any market, someone's going to do absolutely great. So this is not like, okay, well, I'm doing great. Man, God bless you. I'm glad you're doing great. But look, I know a lot of agents are not doing so well today. And so what I keep doing is pushing this rock uphill, in that the problem with our industry, frankly, is we just have too many agents. Look, maybe that's something a lot of people don't want to hear, but that's okay. I only answer to me. We have way too many agents. And the problem is that on top of that, way too many of them are general practitioners. See, we come out of school and we want to be all things to all people. And that's a great place to start. But as the years go by, I think you need to become a specialist in certain areas. I mean, if you've ever been to a doctor, you've been a general practitioner, the next time you go, ask them, hey, who makes more, you or a specialist? No, don't do that. That's just going to embarrass them. But you know the answer to that. Specialization is the key. It is absolutely the key. I coined this. There's riches in the niches, man. I did an entire conference 2 years ago on this, where I invited leaders that had a niche. Luxury is a great niche. Probate is a great niche. Divorce, believe it or not, is a great niche. Working with seniors is a great niche. Now, today we're going to focus on one I have a lot of passion about, and that is the military side. It's underserved, totally underserved. It really bothers me, and that's why my certification can make such a difference. When I get into some stats on how poorly represented this sector is, I hope it wakes you up. Because what I'm trying to do, and look, again, if I don't offend someone at any point in time, I'm not working hard enough. But I think all of us at any point in time have come across a veteran or someone in the military, and we have said, thank you for your service. And if you are military here on this call, active duty veteran, thank you for your service. But it cannot end there. I just think oftentimes we're giving lip service to the people that have served us. We as real estate agents could do more than that. We could serve those that serve by helping them get into the American dream. Would you agree with that? Yes? No? Are we doing that as an industry right now? Hells no, we're not. How can we say we're doing that when only 13% of veterans actually use the VA loan program? Now, some of it's their fault. Look, they got to take some responsibility for it. There's a lack of financial literacy among veterans. It is an issue. It is an issue that I hope will be dealt with better before they become veterans. And there are people out there like me that are trying to do it better afterward. But here's the real problem, man. The real problem, guys, is that you take the average real estate agent and you say, tell me 3 things about the VA loan program and make it an outstanding program, and they can't give you one. And oftentimes the veteran maybe comes in thinking, hey, do you think I could use my VA? Oh, no, 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 don't do that. Don't do that. No sellers are going to take your deal. No one's going to accept it. Why aren't sellers being open to VA loan offers? Because the listing agents are talking them out of it. Or these sellers may have been around for a while and they think it's still the old VA loan program where they have to pay money out of their pocket to help these people get into the house. And that's not the case anymore. So this is the wake-up call. We can do better. How big is the market? Well, active duty, 1.3 million and counting. Veterans and retired, 21 million. Look, the active duty side is growing. You know, there's more emphasis on defense now than ever before. So we have people are signing up in droves. So that's going to be expanding. But see, here's a problem. And it's also an opportunity. I was at a show once. I had a gentleman, I come to my booth and he goes, Tony, I like the idea of getting this course, but I'm not near any military bases. And I says, well, I think I can address that. See, the active duty portion is the smallest segment of the market. The biggest slice of the pie are veterans. And veterans love to move to Florida because that's where I was doing the show. And then you went, oh, yeah. I go, so don't limit yourself. The market that we are going after is what you see on the screen there. And it's just not the veterans, it's the veterans in their family. Because once you do right by a veteran, they'll probably be your biggest raving fan. Terry, would you agree with that, brother? You do right by them?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's where we come in. So what I decided to do today is just kind of take you on a little bit of a tour of what I teach. Because at the end of the day, I can only help those that want the information. But if you say, what is our mission? Our mission is simple: to serve those that have served us. I never served, but in some way, I feel like I am now. If through this training, through this content, more and more active military and veterans are able to achieve the American dream of home ownership, then I feel I've done a good thing. So what I do throughout a full day of training, now when I do this live and in person, it's all day. When I do it online on demand, that's on you. You can start today and knock it out in a day, or you can knock it out in a year. I wouldn't wait that long. Now, when I teach it live via Zoom, which is my favorite, I'll be honest with you, it's my favorite because I can reach more people, yet it's me still live teaching it. I do it over 2 days, 2 half days, because it's a lot of stuff. It's like taking a sip of water from a fire hose. So when we start by basically talking about the fact that, hey, you really have answered the call. You've answered the call to help these folks out and what it can mean to you. And then I get in your face. I get in your face and say, look, if this is something you want to do, you got to learn to do this right. I got to go ahead and get into, I have actually tables that I share with you with numbers, because if you ever wanted to know how many veterans are in my state, how many installations are in my state, I provide that to you. I like talking about the armed forces because so few people really understand that, there's 3 branches. What you have to do is you have 3 departments and you have 5 branches, And for example, what does an Army person like to be called? So let me ask you something. Is there a Marine on the call here today? Anybody? Okay. So let me ask you a question. If I were to ask you, Terry, this is unscripted, so this could go horribly wrong. Okay. If I say, hey, Terry, you were a Marine, what might your response be to that?
Well, we always say once a Marine, always a Marine. So that's
There
not,
you go.
yep.
There you go.
There's no was.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, a Marine never stops being a Marine. You don't go to a Marine and say, hey, so you were a Marine. I go, am I not standing here right now? I am a Marine.
Mm.
No disrespect to the other branches, but if I called you a soldier, Terry, how would you respond to that?
Never a soldier. Marine, Marine, just like a soldier is a soldier. It's a vast difference
Yeah.
for all of us, for that matter, all of us.
Listen, they're all fighting on the same side, but sometimes you wonder how often they fight among each other because there's tremendous pride, right? They take pride in the levels that they have, right? The ranks are important. I don't expect you guys to memorize it, but I do need you to understand that when they achieve a certain level, they like to be recognized for having achieved that level. Navy, sailors, Marines, guardsmen, airmen, and and now you have Space Force. People thought that that was a TV show. There actually is a Space Force, and it is expanding. Now, you can't really work. I think you can't really serve them as well as you can or should, and if you understand the challenges that they face. The challenges that active military face are the permanent change of station, the separation that they have from their families. That maybe every 2 or 3 years, they're moving to a whole different installation. What does that mean as far as packing up their family? Now, what I like to do is focus most of today's call on the larger side of the audience, which is the veteran side. And you know that on the veteran side, we're dealing with homelessness, we're dealing with depression, we're dealing with drug abuse, we're dealing with um, uh, unemployment issues, there's a PTSD, all of these things that we're dealing with that you have to be very sensitive and aware. And you have to also be able to identify when it is that you're up against any of these particular emotions so that you can structure your conversation so you can have the empathy that you need to help them get through. There are rights and protections that are available to service members. That's covered in Chapter 4. The transition to civilian life is not always easy. What happens is the military tries to prepare them, as the months approach that they are being discharged. But then when they get into civilian life, it can be challenging and difficult. Now, there are many, many veteran benefits available, and I give you like a 10,000 foot view of them. But I don't expect any of my agents to be able to explain the medical benefits to them. What's important is, do you really have an understanding and appreciation for the VA loan benefit side of things? When we talk about basic allowance for housing, so many real estate agents don't know that when a service member is eligible for this, they can use that allowance toward the purchase of a home. And it can be substantial. So if you're going to get this kind of money from the government anyway, why rent when you may be able to buy? That creates buyers for you. If there is a segment of the population that is built on trust and honor more in the military, I don't know what that is. Gaining their trust can be difficult. And, but once you have it, it's a given. So let me ask you something. A military member here, if a real estate agent shows up late to an appointment, what kind of a start are they off with you guys? Are they off to a good start if they show up late to an appointment? But I don't understand. I mean, isn't that what real estate agents do? We show up late to everything. So I tell you what, man. I mean, Lee says no, never. Jose, no. Let me ask you something. When you think of adjectives, one-word adjectives that describes military people, what name comes to mind? Like a characteristic that defines a military person. What comes to mind? One word: discipline. Actually, yeah. Mm-hmm. So here's about thing: punctuality. respect. You know, they are committed. When they start a task, they see it done. So the VA loan program, why is it so misunderstood? It's one of the best programs out there. I could argue it's probably the best program out there. So here's what I do. I cover an entire section where we go ahead and dispel the myths. Let me just talk about a couple of them here today. So for example, this is a lousy loan product. One of the best loan products on the market. Think about that. There is zero down payment. There is no loan limit. You guys understand what that means? If there is somewhere in your mind you were thinking, I don't know if I want to work this segment because those are all kind of low-end buyers, you can sell a $2 million home to somebody with a VA loan, so long as they qualify for the payments. So think about that. You that are in Florida or an area where there are a lot of condominiums, and you think that you can try to get FHA financing on those. In Broward County, where I'm at, there's probably 8 condos, condominium complexes that are approved for FHA. There's over 200 that are approved for VA. So tell me about what product. Oh, the VA loan program will take too long to close. Yeah, if you have a crappy lender, my lender can close it in 10 days. Okay. Next, surviving spouses don't qualify. Of course they do, but something you won't see about a surviving spouse that qualifies for the veteran benefits is they'll never remarry because they will lose those benefits. You need to have perfect credit. Well, they usually look for 620 to 640, but you know what? My lender can get it done for 580. Yours should too. You know, the debt to income ratio, I've seen some VA loans get approved in the high 60s. High 60s, people. You know, so it can only be used for single family. That's what I was telling you. Condos, they're only for first-time home buyers. Not at all. So long as they have eligibility and entitlement, they can go ahead and use it. Zero down payment means a weak buyer. No, it's a smart buyer. Because if I wanted to buy a big screen TV right now, and I went to Best Buy and they said, Tony, you know, you can find this at Nancy's for 1 year, interest-free. Okay, I'm going to use your money. And let me tell you something. You know what their down payment was, if you want to get crazy about this? When they served the sweat and blood, that's their down payment. They're covered. Seller must cover their costs. No, seller doesn't have to cover any of their costs. New game in town, people. I even have this sheet that is available to all of my MilRES so that you can personalize it and you can use it. You know how you best use this? It's not so much for the consumer, it's for the other agent, so that you can educate the other agent that's going to be clueless and not wanting to present your VA offer. Yeah, you need to educate the other side. So what if you knew that during this class, we were going to go A through Z on how the VA loan program works, not to turn you into loan officers, but to make you better educated, better prepared to go ahead and get these people ready to sit down with your loan officer. You have to understand eligibility, entitlement. What does it mean? How does the amount of entitlement equate to how much of a loan they can get? I have the graph, I have the formulas for you. We have to understand the underwriting guidelines. You have to understand what the VA appraisal is all about. People say, what, the VA appraisal, man, those things are tough. They're not. It just has to be a place that's livable. Let me tell you something. There's a thing called Tidewater when it has to do with VA loans. It doesn't exist with any other loan program. Imagine this, right? The VA appraiser goes out to the property. There's no way in hell the property is going to appraise. If this were a conventional or an FHA deal, what would that appraiser do? They don't care. They're going to go ahead and give you the appraisal they think it is, and your deal's dead. You know what a VA appraiser is required to do? Implement the Tidewater effect. They have to contact the loan officer. They have to give the loan officer 48 hours to get together with the borrower and find a way with the agent, find a way to produce the comps needed to help that deal get appraised. Where does that exist in any other program? The lender's important. So I go through an entire section of how to interview. Let me tell you something. There are a lot of people that give lip service to, yeah, we do VA loans, but they really don't understand the program. So you have to partner with the right lenders. When you have to present an offer, it involves educating the other side. The other side will probably be clueless on how this program works. So it's almost like a short sale. This is why this dovetails so well with my other course. Oftentimes, the listing agent in the short sale is having to educate the buyer's agent. This time around, when you're the buyer's agent, you're going to be educating the listing agent on how the VA program works. Communication is so important. And what I have found is this is an area that so many of us struggle with. So I take a whole section to go ahead and do the following. Do you know what your disc profile is? Many people do not. Do you understand how to identify one of the four, a combination of the four disc profiles, so that you can better tailor your presentation and communication to match that of your prospect? You know, when you're working with a military buyer, active duty, there's specific questions that you need to ask. The same thing with active duty sellers. We need information as to where they're being transferred to. When is that happening? Are they looking to become a landlord, or do they just want to sell and get on? Forms are provided for you. And then we start wrapping up the session with lead generation, because that's so important. One of the things I cover is the ACT methodology, which is how to attract, convert, and transform your leads. Mind mapping, how you can take one idea and have it expand and evolve into a series of strategies and approaches to growing your business. Of course, we're going to talk about social media and how important it is that you convey the message the right way. So what I would love to see you all do, if you're not a MilRES now, is to answer the call. And if you're wondering, how do we compare to, I don't know, NAR's class and all that, I never, ever compare myself to any other class, because there's one thing my class has that the other ones don't. That's me. I know the content is better, but you know what? Content, go on ChatGPT and you can produce content. Let me tell you what ChatGPT cannot reproduce: me. I bring it. And if this was just a small example of the passion I bring and energy I bring to teaching, just imagine me in your face for 2 straight days when you do it live and on Zoom. Yeah, the testimonials are there. I'm very proud of these. I'm very proud that people that have been in the business for years and years and years took my course, and all of a sudden they go, wow, I had no idea that this course or that these things were available. So I have 2 formats to introduce to you. On the left, you have the online on demand, ready to get started right now. I mean, no sooner do you get signed up, you have access, you get started right now. Cost is $325, but I'm going to take care of you in a second. The other one is the live virtual. And my next class coming up is already behind me. So here's the thing. I put the wrong dates up because I'm crazy that way. So Jeanette, I have another April dates coming up, right? That's what happens when I rush things. But I do have I think I have an April or a May one coming up. So she'll correct that and put that in the chat area. So you have the choice: online on demand, or you have the virtual version that's either April, May for sure coming up. But here's what I'm offering you guys for being on the call here today, for putting up with me for a half hour. You guys get $100 off the class, $225. Now, are there any CDPEs in the group right now? Anybody here that's a CDP? And I don't mean from back in the day. I mean, you know, the CDP closed down in 2020. I bought it. I brought it back. And I've been extending invitations to people to come back, just renew it at a discount and everything else. But if you are a member in good standing right now with us as a CDP, man, you get an incredible deal, because I always take care of my members. That's $149. Okay. So what happens is when you go to the website address, which is Go MilRES, Jeanette will post it. And thank you, Jeanette. She just posted the dates for the next virtual one April 28th and 29th. And I do them in the afternoons. I think they're 1 to 4:30 Eastern on both of those dates. So when you go to the website that she put there, you enter the appropriate code, MilRES 225, or if you are legit CDPE, yeah, Terry, we can look that up. We can look that up, and then we can go ahead and extend to do it. I don't have to look it up, man. Your word is your bond. We'll extend that. Jeanette, let's get Terry the link that he needs to come back into the group. All right, and 2 for 1 because I'm really in a good mood. So if you sign up for the online on demand right now, because I hate for you to have to wait all the way to the end of April, take the online on demand right now, and I'm going to, at no charge, throw in the virtual one as well. So you're going to get a double dose. And I think that's the perfect way to do this, because when you take the online on demand, you can't ask questions. There's no interaction, but you can get the information and you can get the certification and you can get to work. Then you come in and take the virtual one, and listening to it all over again will reinforce, or there's some things that just slip by, and then you can ask questions. Okay. And you'll be able to get going. Yes.